Alright, welcome to Triple Break, a podcast on Dissidia, Final Fantasy, Opera Omnia, JP. So for this episode, we are going to talk about these end of September report. I mean, we really haven't came up with a good name for it, but it's the report that comes at the end of September that's supposed to be talking about the things in October. The report came out like a few days ago, and now we are getting around to talk about it. Anyways, let's get started then. So the first things first is, well, here's the provisional calendar. If you somehow haven't looked at it yet, here's what's going on. Marco, why didn't you give a rundown of how things are working out?
Sure. So I think different from before because we no longer have like character awakening waves because everybody's at level 70. So this month we don't have either heretics or a raid. So this month starts with the new chapter featuring Cloud of Darkness and Kafka. And if anybody has already seen the story preview on YouTube, it's about the Type Zero story. Yeah, another story about Type Zero. And then, as usual, we have the LCs coming up, which are for Afmo and Charlotta. And then the two new characters for this month. The first one is the villain from FF11, whose name I can't really
I
pronounce.
don't think we are ever going to try to pronounce his name.
Yeah, we just refer to him as like Eye Patch Boy, Eye Patch Kid, or Cam's brother. Yeah, but that's the guy. And
I
then there's
I think his name in katakana is something like Eldernosh, but I kind of sorry for interruption.
no worries. Yeah, I just call him Eye Patch for I don't know for drama effects. And then there's also the Trey event featuring Quistis as the synergy character. I think at first when people had speculations because we somewhat know there's gonna be a Type Zero chapter coming, and we thought Trey would be the chapter character with Cater as synergy, and somehow they made Cloud of Darkness there. And then there's an unknown mysterious event featuring Cater as synergy character, and I have no idea what that might be. And interestingly enough, a week after that, there was another event with Dark Cecil, where Dark Cecil is getting like his EX plat weapon. So this is pretty much everything that's going on in this month. And I
You
think the
forgot about the Ultimate Alexander with Raijin and Sans.
oh yeah, those
Yep,
are the last
that's,
two
yeah.
characters without EX weapon, and they are going to get their EX weapon and EX plus weapon. And I think Seth might do something with his chocobo girl.
Well, so just for some clarifications, we got this provisional calendar off of the list of reworks and character boards that are coming. So we don't actually know if Cater and Dark Knight Cecil will be actual separate events, because even if it's a mission dungeon like last month, like they usually announce the mission dungeons in the report, but this time there's nothing about it. So we are guessing this might be actually the autumn event or autumn campaign banners. But it's still strange that because right now, like all the banners features two new EX pluses, so they are 1 week apart. So we don't know how they're gonna work out. Like, are they banner mates or do they have a separate banner mate or whatever? We have no idea what's going on. But it's interesting to see them finally getting something. Anyways, speaking of that, let's move on to list of character reworks. Suko, why don't take it?
It's pretty self-explanatory. Tomorrow we will be getting Kefka's rework, which is pretty interesting because it'll be the second character with HP silence. I find it interesting that F Mao is getting her rework considering Alpha Noir hasn't got or did not have one. So I wonder how she will be, especially in conjunction with her ex. Cater and Quiztis are pretty hot in the market about their X pluses. Just a lot of hype about them. I'm personally hoping that Quiztis will be pretty good and self-sufficient, but not like utterly broken like she was on release. So I'm just hoping she'll have like her slow, quote unquote, slow stacking skills, where you can.
You're
If,
cutting a bit out.
oh, sorry. So did I cut off anywhere specific?
Well, pretty much the entire sentence. So let's restart from there.
Yikes. So for Kefka's rework
Oh,
is
you cut out after
oh
kisses.
oh so for did I man, this is awkward asking. Did I at least say everything I wanted about Quistis, as in slow stacking, etc.?
Slow stacking, yes. And
I
after
think I
that, we
talked
don't know.
about, so pretty much I'm excited about Quistis' slow stacking, quote unquote, and blah blah blah. Um, Besides that, I wonder how Rydia and Cater will, well, how Rydia, oh my god, Rydia, Cater, and Garnet will fare in this section, since they're both elemental based, and more so Rydia and Garnet being enchanters, especially how Garnet was pretty horrible with her first, or her 70 awakening being exclusive to the first Chaos event. I have very fond memories of that event.
Yeah, she is the synergy of the first Chaos event and the first Chaos event completely resisted magic attacks. And that was before the resistance changes with elemental weaknesses that are able to bypass weapon type weaknesses. So like she was basically completely useless there.
It was fun because she shared a banner with DKC, and on this tangent, basically I pulled like 50k and 100 tickets, and I beat her from like just that alone, and I got no X for DKC, so Garnet really prepared me for the chaos era in not the greatest way.
Well, we're gonna talk about early chaos someday soon, maybe. Yeah, whenever I get the stuff ready for it. But anyways, enough tangent. We are surprised that out of everyone is actually getting a rework because like her kit already is very good. Like she gives everyone 50% attack, max brave defense, 50% damage reduction from brave attacks, and 100% debuff evasion. And the only downside is that she takes up 3 unique buff slots on parties, but the buffs she gives are very good. So we are quite surprised to see her getting a rework.
I suppose it might be tied to her brave and HP plus grinding buffs. It might just be tied to one skill or to just HP plus alone.
Like
Or
if
maybe she's just gonna get a complete overhaul on her kit and be even more.
Yeah, if like she actually gets improved buff economy, she'll be like way better than she even is. Like even just at 35 CP even. But anyways, enough talk about that. Let's move on to the next section, which are character boards. So we are going to get a new patch of character boards, but this time it's slightly different. So we're gonna get the first patch tomorrow, which is basically all the X Plus characters released last month, starting with Leno and Cypher. And then the second batch will be accompanying basically every new EX Plus releases from now on, including LCs and banner synergies. So basically, the month before, only the new event characters got their character boards. Everyone else was kind of like left in the water. But the first patch, soft stat, and the second patch is going to be makes everyone having the character board. So how do you guys feel about this?
I feel like it's kind of rewriting everything in a more well-defined, but also it leaves kind of less to the imagination, where we might get from getting 20 random characters. Oh, it's just going to be the characters that are going to be released or have been released. Um, but I like it in all fairness. What do you think, Marco?
I think this month it's mostly just like catching up because last month they did all the pro tags except Dark Cecil, and they didn't do all those event characters who are not new characters. So this month it's basically like catching up, and I think next month there will still be like some old characters who already have their EX plus weapon, and alongside the ones that are getting new EX plus weapon. And
So okay, keep going.
oh no, I'm just actually just looking at the list. I just feel like these like I have Ida and Lena and Fujin. I feel they are pretty good on their own. That they don't really need their board that much, unless some of the pro decks from last month, because they are sort of like old charts, they benefit a lot more. Like for example, like Cloud or somebody else like Squall maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of my question. Which characters are you guys looking for to board or no board from this list?
I might do Lena. I feel for like in Ida's case, she doesn't really need anything unless they give her an extra hit on her
That's
skill too.
not
But
likely.
yeah, I highly doubt that. And then she's like probably just getting like more overflow,
And more
a little bit
potency.
more potency, and potentially like more brave refund. But I think she already refunds enough from her like EX. Yeah, I think unless they do like something like a damage cap increase, I don't feel like she needs anything.
Me personally, I'm actually quite looking forward to Elfin awards. So I don't think we actually included this in our discussion episode about him, but character board, if he actually gets like extra 20% overflow on his skill 2 and maybe like plus 10% healing cap, so that makes his skill 2 be able to hit like 140% base overflow and having a 30% HP heal for party instead of 20. I think that's actually going to be a pretty big change for him. That makes his damage reliability and healing reliability much higher than he already is. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Plus, for most characters that are actually getting auras, their character boards actually gives them additionally 5% extra aura for the party, so that's nice to have.
I think in the case for Lena, like her skill 1 could definitely use more damage.
I
For Fujin, I think she could use a bit more damage, but she also works just fine now. But I'm mostly just using her there for her enchant anyway.
I haven't actually used Fujin that much, so I have no idea.
Likewise.
Though, like, I can say that she's very good with the enchant and imperil on top of a lot of aura and a guaranteed AoE chase on her EX plus. And speaking of that, we also have Kais, who works very well with her, so things are getting kind of out of hand. Anyways, let's move on to the next section, which are basically just small sections, notes. Basically, we are getting a lot of potions. So at the end of October, like it's at the end of October, it's not coming soon. There's still 1 month coming. So an update will be coming where instead of rank ups like refilling our SP, you'll just give us potions instead. So we don't waste SPs from rank ups like from leveling newer characters. Because right now, like if you take a level 1 character into a fight, like he's gonna get like up to level 20 already, and you waste like 20, I think you waste like 200 SP. And on top of that, during that update, we are going to get the number of potions that's equivalent to our rank. So right now, the max rank is about 876, and by the end of the month, that's going up to 907, I think. We are going to get 3 new characters, right?
Counting is hard.
You are supposed to be the math guy. Come on. But anyways, we are going to get close to 900 potions if you're near max rank. So yeah, that's gonna solve a lot of potion problems for people. How many potions are you guys at right now?
I'm at
Uh,
around.
oh, go ahead, please.
My bad. I'm at around 120 potions, and I'm about to use all of them for or at least 40 of them for Golbez artifact farming.
I have roughly the same. I actually bought like 30 potions from the token store where you can use one token for 5 potions.
She's referring to the daily co-op tokens that we are getting right now. I know a lot of people might be forgetting about them. But just like if you are diligent about doing them, you can get quite a decent amount of stuff out of it. But at this point, like getting potions from there is kind of pointless because we are getting a huge chunk.
Yeah, now I feel bad about like not using those 6 tokens for tickets.
I mean, you're gonna
But
get
it might,
6 tickets. You're not gonna get much from it, probably.
yeah, it's just gonna be like a 3-star.
Or
You
But
never
for
know.
me, so
You never know if you're gonna get a 3-star or a nice new EX weapon.
well, I'm pretty sure. I think I saw from Rem earlier from This Is the DB that he got Dekai's entire kit from 7 tickets. So you never know.
Nice.
He deserves it because like he has like something like 500 plus power pieces right now. Anyways, potions are very welcome. I recommend everyone just to try to get. I mean, if you're up for it, try to get to as high as a rank as possible before then, so you get the benefit of the SP refreshes and you get more potions going forward. So, yeah.
If
And
your rank is above 200, just use your rank for stat. Don't be overzealous.
okay. Anyways, next point. Is that we have confirmed that we'll be keeping the ingot sale. So for those of you who don't know, starting mid-September, they have started the sale, a gem sale that includes 1 ingot in it. It's 3,000 gems and 1 ingot for the price of 2,400 yen, which is about $20 USD, $25 USD, depending on how you go about it. And you have a limit of 4 times to buy it. So you can get 4 ingots if you pay up. So how do you guys feel about it?
I suppose I'll go first. I am a little conflicted. I feel like it should be in the cash shop just because there are so many characters that you possibly may not be able to use, and kind of restricting it to a gem sale feels awkward, especially when one of the translates said that it was well received. But on the other note, they do give us a fair amount of um, ingots throughout the month, but it's still not enough. It just feels weird. I'd prefer it to not be in a cash shop, but it exists, so whatever helps keep the game alive.
Just for clarification, none of us here are big money spenders. In fact, like we barely spend anything on this game, so we are probably not going to be purchasing these at the moment or anytime soon, right?
well, currently I'm not. Like, I think I still see these things as like gem sales with something extra. And when I'm not low on gems at all, I just don't feel I should buy anything.
Even though
It's
you're
definitely,
basically have 0 ingots at the moment.
well, the
Yes.
current content is, it's not like I need to put ingots into a certain character for me to beat the content. So there's not such like an urgent need for such things. But I guess it's just good for people who need ingots but are having trouble beating chaos fights. I think there was like someone commented on the official Twitter account with a poll about like, do you like this or do you dislike this? And I think for the JP players, it's like 60% are saying, we thank you very much for having this sale. And 40% are like, they don't like the feeling that you're getting an advantage by paying money.
Well, yeah, current content, like if you have been playing for a while and you have been keeping things up to date and whatnot, and you have a wide enough roster, you can pretty much like beat things without pulling. Like I am the hoarder of the group in terms of like ingots. Like you guys know, most of you know, like I have like quite a bit of ingots.
It's bad.
But yeah, there is like if you have a wide enough roster, the current difficulty of content does not require you to buy the ingot package to max out your character so you can beat content. It's not like that. And plus, this is not really a PvP game, it's a PvE game, and you can perfectly clear the entirety of FEOD 12 to get your bragging right rank plates. So I don't think we see this as the game going pay to win, do we?
No.
I mean, there is no PvP, so how many
So
ingots
yeah.
other people have has like no effect on my own gameplay.
Alright, so it's only 4 ingots per month, so if somebody pays up, like they will get average of like 1 1/3 more MLB EX Plus per month, which is not a lot, and you still have to actually be lucky enough to actually get the EX Plus in the first place. So yeah, that's our thoughts on the ingot sale. So now let's move on to something slightly more gameplay oriented. So starting with the update, there's something that's quite obvious that popped up that was not mentioned in any of the in-game announcements or whatnot, and that's the font used for the Brave displays. So as you can see, the numbers are kind of scrunched up a little bit, right?
All I can really say is yikes.
Yikes.
It hurts my eyes.
Yeah, there's this really obvious little empty space on the 6th digit. So we are kind of speculating that maybe we are gonna get some mechanic that allows us to break the max brave cap right now.
That's what it feels like, especially. It just feels so much more smaller compared to the last. It's obvious, but it just feels threatening.
It's sort of frustrating that they have no mentions of anything related to that. And like they have no mentions of anything relating to a new tier, because starting next month, Garland is coming back on LC, and that he was the first EX Plus event. So people are speculating that we're gonna get a new tier of weapons, but we still have quite a lot of characters without their EX Plus yet. So we actually go ahead and made a list. Marco took the time to compile all the pictures together, so enjoy.
Oh, actually the credit for the pictures goes to
Yes.
Fallon
And
for her site. Yeah, for their sites for keeping information about like character and which characters have EX plus, which characters have their LCs coming up, which characters have what kind of sphere slots. It's a very nice website. Yeah, if you have time, you should definitely check it out.
We will link it in the description down below.
And right now, for the characters without EX plus weapon, I think a lot of them actually also needs like a rework. For example, like Maria and King. Although he did get a rework, that was like the worst rework ever in history.
I think you forgot Yuna's rework.
Well, Yuna's EX is her real rework, so
She got a buff to cheer in Asuna.
yeah, I mean Yuna's rework is like Aerith's rework, which wasn't too much, but somehow Aerith's EX plus was like a huge thing, while Yuna somehow didn't really get that much of boosting her EX plus, unfortunately.
And no, do not max Yuna just so you can use her in auto battle. That's a bad idea. Just ranting about something else on Reddit. Keep moving.
And then I think the one that's interesting on this list is like Peng, because she's featured as synergy for Ultimacia event. And Ultimacia would be her LC would be the second one of next month. So if we're getting new tier, it would just be super weird. Like on the banner, there's a character who's getting a new tier, and there's a character who still doesn't have EX plus. I think originally a lot of people speculated like Riku would be coming and Paying would be synergy for her and getting EX plus, but that's not looking very likely right now. And then there's also Sid, who's a synergy for Machina event that is coming up just one after Ultimacia. And then for the rest of the characters, yeah, I think Ram is actually doing pretty well right now, even without her EX plus due to her gimmick. And so is Liang. And Annie, I don't really have much idea about how Laguna or Thancred is doing.
They're not
And
doing
all
well.
and Auron definitely would need a rework. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like in this month, we got Keita and Dark Cecil. They could have like fitted more characters with them to let them get EX plus and rework. So I'm quite curious as to see how they are going to handle this batch.
Right, and here, and we go back to the question is, are we actually going to get a new tier yet? Because it is possible to go on to like Garland and Ultimecia LC, and without introducing a new weapon. That's what they did with Noctis. When Noctis LC came back, he just got his level 70, which is a new thing, yes, but the banner was still just his EX, so things like that can happen. And if we are going on the logic that banner mates who have not received their EX Plus or any other upgrades are getting upgrades, then we also have Sephiroth with Word of Light and Garland on Garland's LC. So how's the banner distribution gonna go on with that? Something that we are not gonna be able to know for a while.
I mean, Warrior of Light is like the poster boy. He's like the face of the game. So
He's the
if
icon of
anybody
the game,
gets yeah, if anybody gets anything, he's going to get something.
It better
and the
be
cloud
Garland.
too.
It better be Garland.
But do you
I
have enough
honestly have no
chance
idea.
if a new tier comes though? That's the other thing.
Yeah, personally, I hope there's not a new tier coming, or if a new tier comes, it better not be sharing like the same banner with the EX weapons. Because now, like pulling for a
Yeah.
new tier and getting a lot of EX weapons is just gonna be like so frustrating.
Like, we are
Especially if back
already
then,
swimming in EX dupes right now. Marco, why
yeah, and
don't you
especially
tell
like
them
if
your story?
oh, I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, I think right now my state of mind is that it's completely okay to get dupes. It's just like whatever. I mean, I have like 4 ace dupes and 4 Zeding dupes and like 3 Paladin Cecil and like 2 Catchy and then 1 Galov and who else?
So how
It's just
many things did you get in total?
oh, well, actually, the most like either funny or sad thing for me was like back then I spent 100k gems and like 400 tickets for Ida EX, and I got like 2 dupes while pulling for Alfino. So I mean, you sometimes you just have to like face all of these things. It's part of your experience playing this game.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't even want to talk about like how many EX dupes I would have. I probably have more EX dupes than some guy who's playing for a while. But anyways, that's neither here or there. Let's move on to the next topic, which is the recently dropped new story chapter trailer. It's a story that's focusing on Type Zero, but the characters we are getting EX Plus are Cloud of Darkness and Kefka, but that's neither here or there. Ace is going to be a central focus there, and he is actually on banner this time, unlike Bards, who was on last time, who was basically the main character of the story, but was not on banner or anything. Mean right there. So, of course, there will be a little bit of spoiler here for people who have not kept up with the JP story or who have not played Type Zero. So, what's something interesting that you guys want to talk about from the trailer?
I think for the trailer, well, for like I am gonna focus more on like Cloud of Darkness since she's the character that's going to be released. I think she didn't really have a personality in Final Fantasy III.
No,
She
she's
was
just
like,
like a force of nature.
yeah, and I think she's still somewhat like that in the trailer where she's just like, I'm here to keep the balance between the light and the darkness. It's kind of funny, like they chose her as the representative as the representative of the villain of her story, because a lot of the other villains are not actually the final guy you fought in the game. Like Golbez is not the last person you fought, like nor is Kuja, but they somehow chose Cloud of Darkness.
Well, who else are
Like,
gonna choose for 3? There isn't a lot of candidates for that because the story was pretty bare bones at the time.
yeah, I don't remember 3 super well, so I guess it's just like Onion Knight is also somewhat like a generic character. So I guess Cloud of Darkness somewhat like fits with Onion Knight.
I think there's like one character Cloud of Darkness was controlling, but I don't.
Zande?
Yeah, but I don't remember anything about him, honestly.
Yeah,
But it's been like 10 years. It's been a while.
yeah. It's been a while since anyone of us last played 3.
Oh, you guys can go on about like the Type Zero story.
Right, because I
I didn't.
actually
Yeah.
played Type Zero. Did you play Sugoi?
I played it on the PSP where I couldn't read
Right,
Japanese, and
same here.
they had so much. Um, but I'm familiar with most of the story, or
So
half of
one
it.
interesting thing here is the appearance of Machina. So Machina hasn't came back for his LC yet. That'll be probably like December, I think, right? Yeah. So one thing about Machina is that unlike the rest of the Type Zero cast, he is not summoned by Materia, the goddess thing. He is instead summoned by Spiritus, the other guy, the bad guy god, so to speak. But factions are kind of like weird and stuff in this game, so don't pay too much attention about it. But one very interesting thing is Machina has his full memories of the game, so he comes from endgame of Type Zero, and where everyone else, they have part of their memories actually taken away and stored in the Dark Mannequins. So that's actually pretty interesting because most of us can agree, if I dare to say all of us, like Machina is actually one of the most hated characters back in Type Zero story.
He is definitely not well received, to put
No,
it lightly.
to put it lightly, yes. And somehow by putting that twist in, so spoiler for Type Zero, the main campaign, everyone dies except for Machina and Ren. So yeah, so Machina basically remembers that all his classmates died, and he has to live with that. But then everyone else, they have no idea yet. But it seems like something has happened to Ace, and he's actually facing off against Machina here. So that's a really interesting visual there.
I never played Type Zero, but I did like try to watch the gameplay on YouTube. And I think like based on the story in Machina's event, I somewhat feel bad for him. It's like he's definitely like feeling guilty about what he did, and he definitely feels bad about the thing that like everybody else died but he survived. And I think he's in a very sort of like a very fragile state where he's happy to see everybody alive, but he's also like afraid that these will just go away. So so I feel he's actually a somewhat like likable character in Opera Omnia.
To
Oh,
add to that, in in the trailer, pretty much Machina finds Ace or from whatever happens because it's like in the middle of the story, and Ace comes out with a comment, roughly translated something like, um, well, like who came, the coward who survived or something, and Machina pretty much replies, um, one second, I'm trying to find my horrible translation of it. I'm so proud because I spent like 20 minutes on it for like one word. He says something like, "I have no excuse. Say whatever you want about me, or say whatever you want." It just makes me feel really kind of depressed because he pretty much knows that Ace really hates him for, well, in Type Zero, he was pretty much,
It's
I
actually the
think,
other way around.
yeah,
Makina really hates Ace.
and you take it from here because I'm
Right.
pretty rusty with
So
the ending,
actually,
and
before we go to that, the scene where Makina is calling for Ace and Ace shows up is actually very reminiscent of the beginning of Type Zero, whereas it was actually Makina's brother who was dying and calling out for Ace, and Ace arrives and say, "I'm here, I have arrived." So that was actually a very nice callback that I did not expect to see in this game here.
I noticed that. It was really cool.
Yeah,
The very opening where we get to see that very
Yeah,
depressing.
and if you do like Ace's character board, he actually gets that line that like I am here
yeah.
as one of the voice lines you unlock.
I actually did his full character board, but I did not actually unlock the voice lines yet. uh, but anyways, what was I talking about? Yes. So in the beginning, it was actually in the beginning of Type Zero. Basically, Makina's brother was how do you say it? An emissary or some sort of like just delivery guy who needs to like deliver messages and to Ace and the rest of Type Zero and the rest of like Class Zero so that they can join the fight. So in a sense, like Makina was led to believe that Ace was responsible for his brother's death. So that led to Makina holding a grudge against Ace and the rest of Class Zero for the majority of the game, which is why he was kind of not well received back in the main game because he was acting all edgy, all douchey and whatnot. But here it seems like somehow the tables have turned because Cloud of Darkness actually released the Ace's Dark Mannequin from wherever that Dark Mannequins are being kept, and Ace apparently has all of his memories back and is now having a thing against Machina. So that's gonna be fun. Though, like full disclosure, while we can read Japanese to a degree to understand the gameplay tidbits, we are not fluent enough to fully understand like narratives and stories and whatnot. So take what we say with a huge grain of salt. And with that, I think we can conclude the section on the new story, right?
Yeah, that is pretty much it.
Oh, just one
Pretty
more
much.
thing. Just one more thing. If you guys pay attention in the what's it called, the trailer, you're gonna see that Ace, actually the enemy Ace, actually has a little like recast bar under his HP. That means he's gonna be able to use his EX skill as an enemy. And here's an extra bit of spoiler: you're also going to fight the Dark Mannequin of Run, who also gets to use her EX. Take that what you will. Anyways, anything else you want to say?
Oh,
One
do you,
small thing. You go first, Marco.
oh no, you go ahead.
In regards to Makina being a lost chapter character being featured in a story, it happened like that in
That was Arc 2,
two
Chapter
six
5. 5. 5 was
with
locked, right?
5, yeah, and
Yeah.
also 6 with Promptu, if
Okay.
I got the right chapter.
Though, like, the thing with Prompto is that he was not on banner, and while Locke was on banner.
Yeah, so pretty much we got to see Promptu, but without like any hints of him being in the game, unless we got him in the event. But it was pretty interesting seeing him there, and it's
Well,
cool that they're releasing characters that aren't
they aren't back on LC yet.
yes,
Yeah. They did it before with, I think, either 2-2 or 2-3 with Leon. No, it's actually 2-4. That was the Pains chapter, right? Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that was Leon was there. Oh, but he was still, like, not back on LC yet. So basically, they just say that the story progress can show that characters that haven't joined your team yet. Basically, just yeah, the timeline's kind of weird with like character events, lost chapters and whatnot. Just like pretend that they happen with all the characters you have. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, Leon was the first one, and then I think also like Deuce appeared in Selfie's LC, and I think just from then on, they just don't really care about
Right.
if the LC is here or not. Yeah.
Anyways, anything else you guys want to talk about?
Oh, do we want to talk about like the Cloud of Darkness gameplay showcase in the video?
Do we?
Oh, I just want to point out it's interesting. Like when they used to showcase characters, they showcase it against like the Cosmos stage with
I'm not actually
6400
sure.
breakpoints.
Was it 6400 break bonus?
No, this one is this
The
time it's
first
the
one is 5-3.
77.
Right,
Oh
really?
no, the second one. The first one is the 7700. So like the first showcase with the three of them, it's like against the Chaos boss.
Okay,
The second
that's
one
neat.
against Ace is the 5300. So
Yeah.
Ace is like an EX
Well,
level boss.
Probably. I think its EX level is 4500, so 5310 is probably level 120 fight. I think.
I see.
Copy
And
and
yeah,
pasting
and
something on Discord real.
Okay, let's see what you have. Okay, yeah. I don't think I have the technical prowess to actually show it, but yes, the first fight showcase is against the Chaos level boss, and of course, with story chapters, everyone on Banner actually gets synergy for the entirety of the story. So in the showcase, Cloud of Darkness and Kefka are with synergy stats, but still the team isn't actually optimal for auras and whatnot. And Ace definitely doesn't have an aura right here because he doesn't have his EX, so the damage output that Cloud of Darkness puts up is actually quite impressive.
yeah, her skill too definitely looks like super loaded.
But anyways, we should be able to get more information out tomorrow and what's for meeting and whatnot. Are any of you guys actually going to poll for her? Or Kafka?
Not I.
I just like pitied Chase Boy, so I'm not going to be
Okay.
pulling for a while.
So for this banner in particular, I don't think anyone of us is actually polling, so unfortunately we are not going to be able to do a detailed showcase or analysis about her because there is no point doing analysis when we haven't used a character. Right?
Yeah, it's awkward trying to do an analysis on a character we don't have because we won't really be able to kind of explain how they work in our own subjective sense, if that makes sense. I can't think of a better word.
Basically, we want to provide insight that's based on experience using the actual character. And speaking of polling, well, I think we actually forgot to mention this. But what are you guys' plans for this month in terms of banners?
I'll be pulling tickets for Alpha Noah before his event or before his banner, and then I'll be focusing on Eye Patch Boy and then saving.
Oh, you actually want to go for Eye Patch Boy. Okay, that's interesting. I know Marco actually wants who was it? Garnet, right?
Oh, I already have
Oh,
gotten
you
it.
already have her. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm going to be go for. I'm going to like go for Rydia. It's sort of a dilemma for me because I think she has some overlap with Garnet on the
yeah, they're
enchant and
both
imperial
enchanted and
thing.
peril.
You can never
Yeah, and
have
they both
enough.
have water. They
You can
both have
never have
water
more.
element.
You can
But like
never have.
Rydia she's like one of the best characters from Final Fantasy IV. She and she's a very cute girl. She has very nice like 3D model, even though her EX animation is somewhat a disappointment.
It's non-existent. They might as well show a black screen and call it a day.
They showed you a white screen, so
Yeah.
yeah. But I think I'm going for her, especially she's now getting a rework.
Any of us
And
are
I
actually
might.
going for Raijin and Sans?
I would like
Oh,
to
I
go
am
for
not.
Raijin, but I don't have. I just want to save for Garland, and I also have an interest in Radia, so I guess it depends on how much I go on Eye Patch Boy.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
I
might
need to save.
actually. I might actually go for like Trey and Quistis, but Raijin and Sass is a pass. Like Sass gives too many buffs for my taste.
Oh yeah, I forgot Saz was there. That was probably one of the reasons why I wasn't too interested in it. No particular. I just don't care for his kit. It's not too interesting.
Personally, I want to get Aphmau because her kit is kind of good, and having a debuff evasion is always good. And I'll be
Leon, sorry,
Leon's kind of eh.
or Lion.
Lion, right?
I
Lion, Leon,
yes,
Lion, Lion. Yeah.
same thing in Japanese.
But yes, Lion is kind of a meh because like if you want to actually use her, you need to like farm her artifacts, which is not something I want to do more of. And then I will also be going for Trey and Kistis at the end of the month. I'm conflicted about getting Reedy or not because enchanters are nice, but I already have Charlotta, so eh.
You were pretty interested in her before, just because of her aura and
Yeah,
her Embrave buff from Summon Leviathan,
yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, from her skill too.
So in terms of offensive aura, she's pretty good. Um, but we don't know what's coming next. I'm probably just gonna wait out for the next month's report before polling on anything other than Aphmau and Trey. And on that note, I think that covers everything, unless there's anything else you guys want to add. I would take the
Like,
silence or no. Okay.
yeah, I think that's everything I have to say. I can't think
Okay.
of anything else.
Alright then, we have been talking for 46 minutes, so that's a pretty good place to end this episode here.